What is going on, everyone? It is the guy that everyone loves to hate and bitch about, your boy, the Crooked Commish. Back at it again here to talk some more fantasy football with y'all. So, another week, and that means we have another long list. Well, I guess this week wasn't so long, but either way, we have a list of injuries that we kind of have to go through and talk about.
Get him a body bag! Yeah! All right. Hey, do it again.
I don't know if we'll quite need a body bag. It's that, severe, but, definitely going to need to look at getting some replacements and stuff. So some guys will be out longer than others and stuff. So, but we'll see. Let us know in the chat. Did you guys win this past weekend? Or are you like me and you need to see what happens on this Monday night game? Maybe it depends on what Breece Hall does, whether or not you win or you lose. So let us know if you won or not. If you did win, hit that thumbs up button. Even if you didn't win, hit that thumbs up button. So, but let us know if you're getting any trades and whatnot, or if you're thinking about sending a trade. The Crooked Commish and Mouth are going to be here to kind of give you our opinions on whether we think you should pull the trigger on that or
he trade raped you. You've been trade raped.
Did not trade rape me.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to try and avoid that, as much as possible. So, like I said, let us know who you're thinking about trading, or if someone's sent you some garbage trade offers, let us know about that as well. We would definitely love to sit and laugh with you. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and kick it off. And we are back at it again. Thank you all for joining us. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button. Doesn't cost you a goddamn thing. I promise you. Absolutely free of charge. So hit the thumbs up. Share us to your other league mates, your other fantasy league mates here. So help us grow here at the Chicago Clubhouse Network. We would love to get to 2,000 subscribers, but we sure as hell can't do it without your guys' help. So if you guys could please do us a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to us if you haven't already. So those that have already subscribed and have hit the like button, we thank you. We really do appreciate it. So now that that's out of the way, like I said, let me go ahead and bring in my co-host here. He's always going to be the loudest guy in the room, and that's why we call him Mouth. This fucking guy.
This fucking guy. How you guys doing? Good to see y'all. Good to be back.
Yeah, good to have you back, man. How you doing?
Good. I mean, I split my fantasy league, but my team fucking whoops some ass, so that's good. So
your real life.
My real life team. Yeah, my real life team did some things, so that was good. And fuck the Seacocks. We did what we needed to do. But
that's big too. A division win. It's always good to get a division win.
Yeah. It just sucked. Like my Monday night game. Like I was hoping Joe Burrows would do a little more than he did, but that Giants defense is definitely a little different. So
I was cheering for Joe Burrow too. I needed him when he started off the game with that 57-yard scamper for a touchdown. I was like,
here we go.
11.
I was like, yeah, right off the bat, and then nothing. was like, fucker.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah.
the
Couple
Giants.
drops, Giants defense definitely was impressive on Monday night or on Sunday night. So that sucked. I lost by 2 points. Fucker.
Yeah, they're pretty stingy, surprisingly. So even though they're not can't get much going on offense, and that's of course because of who their QB is. On defense, they're still playing with a lot of pride. So which is good to see. I guess these guys are getting paid to do a job, and they're still showing up to do it. So let's see if they do that.
It definitely fucked me in my fantasy. I was hoping for at least 25 points, so I needed 25 fucking points. But whatever.
Yeah, I was hoping to get to around that. It would have been cool with that, or I was really hoping to get to 30 points just to give me a bigger gap. So right now, I'm hoping Breece Hall doesn't go off and have like a monster game. As long as he, doesn't go too crazy, I should be okay there. And get out of here.
The good news is Breece Hall really hasn't been part of the for whatever reason hasn't been part of the offense. The guy just unfortunately has all the talent in the world, but he really hasn't had like the monster game you would think that he would have. He had like one good game of like 95 yards and a touchdown, and since then he really hasn't nothing past like 60 yards. So Allen has kind of eaten into him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually doing more with less, but he's just for whatever reason, Breece Hall, he has I think it's like only averaging like 3 yards a carry. He's not really doing like a whole lot like out of the backfield. Like his one touchdown is like actually out of the backfield. So he really hasn't had like much to on the offense that you would think would bringing in Aaron Rodgers now for like the full year and being healthy and everything else. You would think that he would be getting at least a few good games in there, but he really hasn't had. He really hasn't had nothing. He after we're week 5, week 6, and he hasn't broke the 200-yard mark yet. So that kind of hurts.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the players that we're going to be talking about here, where we're starting.
We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
I mean, you can't stay calm for too long. Like you said, we're getting to week 6. So, granted, tonight he's off to a decent start. I think he has around 10, maybe 11 fantasy points right now so far. So, if he gets to around 15, 16, that's something you could possibly live with. But most of these people drafted Breece Hall, in the second round, if not in some of these drafts, the first rounder, depending on how good the league is. And he's definitely just not.
That is not. Yeah, that is. I mean, that's someone at this point where you don't want to sit him, and you definitely don't want to cut him. You definitely don't want to cut him yet. But it's one of those, if you have someone else on your bench that's been kind of just like a Brian Robinson was hurt this last week, but the offense, obviously Washington has a decent offense, and like a Chill Harbor,
another player. Bijan Robinson's another player that was kind of like that, to where a lot of people capital on him, and he's just not. Like I said, thank God for last week, but up until last week, he was a guy that was really struggling.
But I mean, I think the 2 weeks ago when Atlanta actually had like the breakout game, and everybody kind of ate. I think that might be something going forward, that B.J. Robinson, that offense might be starting to cook a little bit in Atlanta. So I mean, if that happens with the firing of Robert Saleh in New York, and maybe Breece, a different head coach and with a different playing calling now. Maybe Breece Hall starts getting some, actual touches and doing things behind, because he's really hasn't got more than like 10, 11, 12 touches, actually rushes, I'm sorry, for him to kind of get into any kind of rhythm. So, I mean, it's unfortunately, the New York offense is kind of sucks because they're doing a lot of 3 and outs. So it's tough as a running back if you get one run and then the other team kind of kicks your ass, and then you're going to start throwing, and then you kind of get phased out of the running, and then you get no rhythm. So that's pretty much been like the story for both the running backs in New York. because they're both talented. Just got to, but if you're not running it, you're not going to get no yards. So,
right. We got a comment coming in here. I picked Bixby, Jacksonville running back, no signing. What do you mean no signing? Thanks for the comment, Frank. But Bixby definitely is a good back to pick up. Let me go ahead and bring up that injury list here for the week, some of the key injuries, since we're kind of getting into it already here. So Jordan Mason there is a running back there with the San Francisco. Your team ended up hurting his shoulder there. He's expected to miss maybe about 2 weeks. This is a return date. Marvin Harrison Jr., he has a concussion. He will be out for about 2 weeks, depending. I mean, we know how these concussions are. It could be 2 weeks and he's still not passing protocol, and then it's extended another week or two. Then Travis Etienne pulled a hamstring. He left that game early against the Bears, and that's where Bixby's looking like the more explosive back as well. So, I mean, that's a good pickup there for sure. We got Chris Olave. He has a concussion. He took a huge hit. I think I got that hit in part of the highlights there. Did you see that hit?
Yeah, he was already having trouble without Derek Carr there. I mean, Shane Spencer is, Rattler is he looked like he had a decent game, but yeah, he took a shot. So I mean, when it comes to fantasy, he's definitely hopefully have someone on your bench because he's going to be gone for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then getting to tight ends, everybody's dealing with tight end issues, and now we have another one here. Dallas Goedert, he pulled a hamstring. He's going to be out expecting to at least week 9. Jerome Ford also has a hamstring issues. Week 9 is his expected return date. And then to round it out, we both have James Conner, the Terminator himself, sprained his ankle. It's to be determined still, and the same thing with Dontavius Wicks. He has a bum shoulder, and to be determined on that as well. So with Connor, I know who took over for him was Trey Benson, the rookie for the Cardinals there. So he's probably not on too many leagues. He would be the guy that you would want to go and get after if you needed some, especially with the bye weeks coming up. Yeah,
because they especially been like run hard with Connor. You know what I mean, and Connor's a huge goal line person, so he eats at the goal line. So that's definitely someone you would think that the offense, depending on Marvin Harrison Jr. as well, depending on if he's healthy enough to come back from his own concussion. So that offense didn't look too good last week, but I would think that they still, were trying to throw the ball around, do stuff. So I mean, that's definitely a hot pickup. With that,
McBride's going to get a bump in option.
Yes, yeah. Well, he did. Yeah, he did for me too. I had McBride as one of my tight ends, so he definitely caught the most of those. Michael Wilson's another one that you want to keep your eye on, especially if Marvin Harrison can't go next weekend. He's definitely another one you want to keep your radar on. But definitely, McBride is he finally showed up. He finally joined the party. That took him about a half, but he showed up and he's been missing. So yeah, you definitely want to look at Benson as well. That offense, can definitely put some points up. So.
Yes, it can. And Frank, I do. It's a good pickup there with Bixby. I think even when he comes back, I think Bixby's going to demand some carries out of that backfield. So
yeah, unfortunately for ETN, he hasn't really done more than about 60 yards for fantasy in any game this year. So I don't know what happened to that offense in Jacksonville, but Trevor Lawrence has been horrible. He's had one really good game, and it was the only game that they won. Other than that, they haven't looked really well on offense. So Gabe Davis is non-existent. Christian Kirk is non-existent. ATN getting his job taken away. So Only one who kind of looked good this last weekend was a tight end, was even Ingram. But other than
Yeah,
that, they're just not really anything to look at when it comes to Jacksonville when it comes to fantasy, other than Bixby because he has been explosive with the few chances he's gotten. He's definitely made the most of them.
I agree. He really has. He looks like the more hungrier back. It looks like he's being shot out of a cannon every time he gets the ball and he goes through a hole. So this is an interesting comment here by Keith. They're going to trade Etienne. Jacksonville. I mean, I would be surprised. It would be kind of interesting as far as what they could really get out of him and stuff. What kind of draft
I mean,
competition could you get out of him?
at this point though, like I as an organization for Jacksonville, I don't know if they would actually do that. I mean, they still hold his rights, for the rest of the year, and I don't think anybody knows how much run Tank B can actually keep going. I mean, he looks good right now, but come week 12, week 13, if he's running the same way, getting all the touches, doing that stuff, he might not hold up. So they might want to keep ETN just in case. I think for not for fantasy, but for organization purposes, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna get more than a fifth or sixth round for him at this point. So I doubt that they'll let him go for anything just to let him go.
Correct. And as far as the Green Bay's receivers here with the Wicks being out, looks like Romeo Dobbs would be the guy to pick up. He should be available in a lot of leagues. He also had a touchdown catch. He looked for
Yeah, two.
He had two, and seeing both his touchdown celebrations, he just looks like miserable being there. Like he doesn't want to be there. Like he's been pissed all season that he hasn't gotten the ball. And it's like you would think.
It looked like they made an effort to get him because that's what he was pissed about. It looked like they made an effort to get him in the end zone so that way they could shut him the fuck up. This is what they did.
Right.
It really it looked like they force fed him a little bit because there was a couple plays that down the field where they had options to go somewhere else with the ball with Love, but it looked like he made an effort to I'm gonna throw the ball to him just to kind of show my boy some love a little bit. But
I agree.
Because I think
it was just one of those.
I think Wicks came. Exactly. I think Wicks came in and stole some thunder from him. And he wasn't happy. So, who knows what happens now?
That's kind of what it almost came across as that, like seeing his facial expressions and stuff like that, and like him celebrating with his teammates. It really seemed like he was just kind of like going through the motions and shit like that. Because typically when receivers or players score, they're all smiles as they're doing the little cheers and shit like that. He was stone faced and just.
It looks like more like I got a fucking touchdown. They finally throw me the goddamn ball. There you go. Like this is what happened a long time ago. So he threw me the goddamn ball. That's what it looked like.
Now you motherfuckers like me. Now you want to give me the ball, huh? Now that Wicks isn't in. Hell no. The hell with you. That's what it kind of came across as.
And what's funny is because it almost seemed like they're trying to give everybody a touchdown. Like Watson got a touchdown, Reed got a touchdown, Dobbs got a touchdown. It's like they're just trying to get.
Love had a good game too. He had a 4-touchdown game as well. So yes, Maurice bear down, and then what did you think? Did you get to see Ridley's? He went off in the locker room as well, complaining about Will Levis and stuff, and how he's not getting any targets. Did you see that clip?
I didn't see that clip. I didn't see that. But I mean, what do you think's gonna happen? You got Will Levis. You got Hopkins in the building with you there too. I mean, I don't. He left Lawrence thinking that he would have a better chance in Tennessee for whatever fucking reason. I don't know what he was thinking, but you had a rookie QB or a second year QB coming in who didn't look impressive as a rookie, and what I mean, like that offense and that team hasn't looked very good since the start. So he can keep crying all he wants, but all he's making himself is just look like no one's gonna want to pick him up for fantasy or for a fucking team next year. So like, he has all the talent in the world, but he ain't doing himself no favors.
No, he didn't. He really didn't. But I mean, yeah, you'll see the clip, and it's just one of those things with him. He's like saying, like, man, I need to get more involved in the offense earlier. He's like, how many targets did I have the second half or at this point? And then I think for the game total, he had 8 targets, but he had no catches and stuff. So, they're like, yeah, you had 8 total targets for the game. Talking to reporters, that's when he was just like, yeah, I mean, I need to get that shit earlier, man. This is wild to me, man. I don't know what the hell's going on here and stuff. It's just I'm not used to this, and they need to get me involved in the game earlier to kind of get me warmed up and blah blah blah. It's just like, ooh, shit, okay. Like the key, yeah, Diggs 2.0 type of thing, only with not even as much production as Diggs.
He's really fell off like after that one great year in Atlanta, like, and then obviously got suspended for fucking. He should probably bet on himself without actually betting. Maybe that'd probably do something for him. I don't know, but this guy, like, I don't know what the fuck to do with him. Like, I mean, like, he's definitely freaking toxic as fuck, no matter where he's been. It's like, I'm pretty sure, like, Jacksonville didn't care that he went, because he was boom or bust in Jacksonville. Either he had a great game or he didn't do shit. And now in Tennessee, he just ain't doing shit. So that's, like, it's just getting progressively worse for his ass.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, he definitely probably did chase the money. Whoever paid him the most, he went to, and I mean, and that's part of the issue there. Sometimes it's not about going. These contracts are written on paper napkins. So what's the point of going to somewhere that they give you, oh yeah, 4-year contract, for $100 million, if on year 2 or year 1 they can cut you? You might as well go somewhere that you can fulfill, like, have the best chance to fulfill that contract to the max potential. Yeah. So
I mean, that's what, and especially right now in college, like, these wide receivers are coming out and they're getting ready to play. So I'd rather have a rookie wide receiver for 4 years or 5 years or however, now fucking the way it is, like 3 years now, but still, like, and pay them a rookie contract, then pay some guy who's might show up for me every other fucking Sunday and give him 4 or 5 years, like, $100 million. And he's giving me, absolutely zero production on the outside. Yeah, exactly. 4 year, $94 million. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That sounds about fucking right, but I'm pretty sure they would love to get their money back.
Yeah, no, they're having buyer's remorse. That's for damn sure. But hey, not my problem.
I got my own damn problems.
Yeah, no, for real. So not too many teams coming up on a bye real quick, just to look this over. We got the Bears coming back from London, so they get a bye there. So they're off next week. And then we got the Cowgirls. They need their whole fucking shit.
No, they oh my God. They need that horrible. Like, I don't know what that is a dumpster fire. That is running down the street. Someone pushed that shit down the hill, set that motherfucker on fire. And
I think Jerry Jones is going to redo his birthday weekend, this coming up weekend. So he didn't have a good birthday.
Oh, hell no. That was one of the worst birthdays Jerry Jones could ever fucking have. Like, that was horrible.
For real.
I mean,
and then I saw the other video where he had one of his fans throwing up in the stadium there. He had a Detroit Lions fans doing the gritty as you see a girl in the background puking on the floor at AT&T Stadium and stuff. It's just like, Jesus Christ, these Lions fans are really feeling themselves, aren't they? So, I mean, especially after losing their defensive end. Did you see that injury with Hutchinson?
That was brutal. They didn't want to show it for a little while, so I had to go find it myself. So I didn't exactly see it when it was happening in real time. So I didn't know which part of himself was hurt. I just heard him say he mouthed out like he fucking broke it. Like, it's fucking broke. But I didn't know what was broke. So, and then when they went back and I looked at, some different videos and I seen his leg kind of dangling, I was like, that sucks. I mean, that's
not normal.
That's not good.
Be like that. You shouldn't be like Gumby.
That you can't put no Robitussin on that shit. That's not coming back. You know what I mean? So that sucks for Detroit, because right now they look pretty fucking unstoppable on offense. Right now, no matter what they want to do, they're gonna get it. They have every position and studs at every position right now. they had a decent defense going, but Aiden Hutchinson going down, it sucks, but it happened at a good time to lose like a star defensive player, because right now Max Crosby's out there. You know, you got to think that, you know, Garrett's out there. You know,
It's before the trade deadline. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hassan Reddick obviously just went and got a new agent, so he's out there. I mean, right now he could be playing. He could be playing on Monday night, but he's on his couch somewhere doing whatever the fuck he's doing. So there's some pretty good, you know, there's some pretty good, you know, defensive ends out there that are, you know, on some shitty teams or just not playing. So depending on what their compensation is and what they're paying for, the choice window is fucking now, and that's definitely obvious. They just went into Big D and give him the big fucking D because they fucking ran it up their ass fucking hard. And that shit was not pretty. That game was over. Like that game was almost over immediately. That shit was brutal.
So, well, you guys may have the big D, but Detroit said we got the dirty D. So
exactly.
This is crazy. Like, this is interesting here. Ohio State offered 22-ish million, I guess, for Marvin Harris Jr. to come back for his senior year. Damn, I didn't know colleges are throwing out that kind of fucking bread to players like, you know. Like
what's his name from Colorado wants 40 for him to come back. If Travis Hunter said, "I'll come back for 40 million, or not, I'm going to the NFL." So that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, even if you were to do that and then like get drafted and whatever, your NFL career flamed out, that 22 alone should be a good for you to be like coast. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
sure, you can be able to buy the newest Lambo every year, but I mean, like, you would be able to. You should still have more than
okay.
money to be good. Yeah,
you'd be okay for a while. You'd be okay for a while.
So they re-signed Dak and Lamb, and the best players is hurt, and you see why they're without Parson. Yeah, everybody's dropping like flies over there in Texas. So, but before we get into it a bit more, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and play the highlights for this week, so that I was able to get together for fantasy football. I know the last few weeks it's been a little choppy, but I was able to work on that. So these highlights should be nice and smooth. So sit back, grab a nose, and oh, you cocksucker. Watch, you'll see. And you'll see
Is now missing action. A lot of moving parts. That's a challenge.
2nd and 15, another completion, but it was dropped by Chris Olave. It's picked up by Antoine Winfield back the other way. They let this play go all the way through, and Winfield takes it to the house.
Position here and just gonna go cut into this deficit.
So Camarda boots it. 47-yard punch. Shaheed's got room. And there goes Rashid Shaheed. The spark that the Saints needed. It's a touchdown to the
Williams over the middle.
Keenan Allen. Touchdown!
To help his teammate turn the corner.
It almost looks like you're posting somebody up. Love looking deep on 1st down. He's got a man out there. Wide open.
Or it's OPI.
Be a 54-yard field goal from here. Mayfield is going to get yardage and a 1st down to Sean Tucker. Inside the 15 and all the way to the
Patriots 2 timeouts. Hasty the back. 2nd down 2. Drake May. Time and distance going, and he's got him!
Godwin in motion. Fake it to Irving. Out to Godwin. In space, and he picks up the 1st down and pinballs his way inside the 40 and off to the races. Chris Godwin.
From the Browns 45. Hurts complete. Wide open. Smith down the sideline. Devontae Smith into the...
Get into that in a second. Oh, here's a little trickery. Straight Brown back to God. Flea flickers. Got Laporta wide open. Sam Laporta foot race towards the end zone.
Quick crossover by you. Pitch it to Najee Harris. Harris sidesteps, gets to the sideline. Najee Harris.
Knicks looking for Sutton in the end zone. And it is with one.
Oh, at the bottom of the screen. Joe taken off.
Oh, he's got a ton of room. Might take it all the way. Inside the 10. Holy mackerel. That is football.
There we go. Come on, Joe.
God damn it.
Needed that.
You know, some of those that Nazi touchdown fucking hurt. I mean, that sucked. That damn fucking Drake made a fucking bootay. That fucker. That one hurt too. Yeah. It's like I was like, son of a bitch. Like I just didn't like. It was okay to get the yards. I just didn't need a fucking score. Fucking hurt in both leagues. I gotta lie. That one sucked. But you know, some good highlights, some good plays. Definitely good plays this week. Good stuff. I'm sure that Green Bay highlight wasn't easy for you to throw in there, but you know.
Yeah, no, they had quite a few to choose from, so I'm like, well, I'm only throwing in one of these fuckers. I'm not gonna. But I made sure to get my Bears highlight in there before those fuckers.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
Because we're ahead of them in the division, so whether they like to admit that shit or not, they got a one division loss. We don't got any division losses, so therefore, you're below us, bitches. So. So let's go ahead and get right back into it. So one of the main things I did want to bring up and talk about is some of the guys that have been disappointments or kind of disappointing this year. Either you're thinking about possibly trying to trade him. A lot of the times you'd probably end up needing to pair up these guys with somebody to pair him right now, just because they're really not putting up that much the value, giving you the value that you drafted them, at. So, and the first guy I wanted to bring up from the quarterback position is what would you do with someone like Patrick Mahomes, who was drafted typically, I know in our draft, like the first 3-4 rounds there, maybe even second rounds in some drafts. And Patrick Mahomes right now is like not even a top 20 fantasy QB. He's barely a top 25. He's ranked right in there between either 25 and 23 as far as fantasy QBs. How much do you feel like would you try to trade Patrick and pick up someone maybe like a Caleb Williams that's been blowing it up and possibly still out there in the free agent market?
I mean, definitely at this point right now, like even like last year, Patrick Mahomes had a lot of like, disappearing act games where just for whatever reason he just didn't play well or didn't have this, or the team played well but he didn't. And then this whole year the team has played well but he hasn't. They're winning, but it's not because of him. So I don't ever want to say or put anything behind him because this fucker will always come back in the fourth quarter. He always does somehow. But it doesn't help her. It doesn't help her fantasy when he's throwing for 220 with one touchdown and 2 interceptions. That's pretty much what he's what six touchdowns, 6 interceptions, which is not very Patrick Mahomes like. I think he only has like 12 or 1,300 yards right now, with going into like week 6. So I know they had a bye this week, but still, that's less than two.
Yeah, looking at his numbers now. He's got 1,200 yards, just over 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So I mean, not exactly what you're hoping to get out of him out of the first 5 weeks.
Oh, and right now that team is being basically led by the defense. So like we were talking about earlier, like Kelsey's another one who hasn't really done shit. They haven't found each other. Xavier Worthy has splash plays, but his splash plays, come not enough to support Patrick Mahomes, where he's going to be throwing for 340 with 3 touchdowns. And unfortunately, without Rashid Rice, pretty much gone for the year, unless they go and they find a way to go trade for somebody else to put somebody else on the outside. With Pacheco gone too, like that offense is definitely not putting no points up. So I would definitely, if you can go stash him and be okay with the roster spot to stash him to see if he kind of finds some rhythm and kind of comes around. I would definitely go be looking elsewhere. If you can get definitely get like a Baker Mayfield or a Kirk Cousins or like you were saying, somebody else.
Baker Mayfield surprisingly still available in one of our leagues and
yes, so that's what I'm saying. Like right now, I wouldn't drop Mahomes. That's somebody I wouldn't do. I wouldn't just drop him. But I definitely wouldn't be starting him every week right now. He's just too well, not even inconsistent. He hasn't shown any really great games yet. Like I said, he had like one game where he had 330 yards, and that was pretty much it for that's majority of his yards they had for the year. But even that game, he had no touchdowns. So he got you about 14 or 15 points, and that was it. Which for your QB1, you're going to get your ass kicked if you're only getting 13, 14, 15 points. That's not very good, especially from Patrick Mahomes. Which you're normally used to. You're just definitely not getting it.
You may have to tell him to.
Why don't you have a seat?
Yeah, definitely. Come here. Just come in my office. Sit anywhere. Hey, actually, don't sit. Just stand. Just sit. Just stand. Just stand. Just stand. You won't be here long. It'll be quick. Like,
so,
we're going in a different direction. We're going in different directions.
Some of the names that are ahead of Mahomes, like total fantasy points, he's around like 69 fantasy points, which is pretty nice, within itself. But some of the names ahead of him, like Deshaun Watson, surprisingly, is having more fantasy points. Daniel Jones, Bo Nix is having more fantasy points than him right now. So it is a little.
How the fuck does Deshaun Watson have anything more than anybody else?
It's not much. It's not much. He's only like.
I don't care if you're next to Deshaun Watson in any kind of category. I don't give a fuck what it is right now. Like you're fucking. I don't want to be mean.
It's really not by much. It's just because he has a little bit more rushing yards and he has a rushing touchdown. But as far as the passing, he has one last.
I didn't know it was that bad. I did not know it was that bad. That is fucking hot garbage. That is really hot fucking garbage. Like the dumpster on fire right now. If you're next to Deshaun Watson and anything. Yeah. I can't believe I'm saying that. Patrick Mahomes is fucking like right next to a dumpster fire right now. That's insane. That is insane. I didn't know it was that bad.
It felt weird to put his name on this list of someone like you need to think about either like maybe like I said, sit down and hit up with the free agent wire, or maybe even package him along with somebody else to try and get a decent running back or a receiver, and then just hit the free agent wire and pick up a Bo Nix or Baker Mayfield if he's still available. Caleb Williams if he's still available. So
I'm telling you now, like you said, I think that would be a trade rate. That'd be a trade rate if you fucking threw Mahomes in there and someone did that trade. Like you'd have to be a serious Kansas City fan. Like he's gonna come back around. Because Tyreek Hill's not coming back. I mean. I know they brought Juju back, but that's not looking good for that offense right now when it comes to them throwing up like 30 plus points like every week. It's just if the defense isn't scoring for them, that's not happening.
So I agree. Some of the running backs there that I wanted to get into and ask you about as well, that people, not necessarily myself. I don't want to name any names here, but people that have spent high draft value cap at the draft time and just not really producing. We mentioned him earlier this evening. Breece Hall is one of those guys that most people drafted, like I said, first, second round, and hasn't really been putting up the fantasy production. It hasn't been a complete bust, but it's one of those. Do you stick with him, or do you want to try and maybe see if you can package him with somebody else, and or see if someone is a big believer in him and trade him off?
I mean, that's so.
Their offense isn't looking good either.
Yeah, so we talked about this. Me and you on our own about how bad that locker room is. They just fired their coach. They just took Nathaniel Hackett away to his play calling duties. I don't know how much different, it'll be with the new play caller. I don't really know too much about him. I mean, so if he starts doing like a lot of like run heavy stuff, like how does that go into Aaron Rodgers and what the fuck he wants to do? You already know he doesn't play well with others. So all of a sudden, if they start running, Allen and Breece Hall like they obviously fucking should, because it would help Aaron Rodgers' dumbass out. And it would actually benefit him. But Aaron Rodgers, at this point in time, I think he wants to be the man. So it's hard, man. It's really hard to be. So I have faith in him that they'll figure it out. I think I have to hold on to him for like a week or two. I think he's one of those guys I bench, and hopefully I have someone else that's doing something on my bench or check the waiver wire out, see who's out there, who's doing some things, and give them a kind of like a week or two to kind of see. But he's definitely been disappointing. Like, he has way too much talent. They should be, a 20 plus, point game, a team a game. But man, these guys are, I don't even know what it is right now. Like, they got 17 right now.
He's got 17 points.
I don't know, but the Jets have 17 points.
Oh,
But
have 17 points. Okay, I thought you were talking about. These are Reese's numbers prior to this game here, but he hasn't even broken 200 yards rushing yet. He's at 197 rushing this season, horrible. 2 touchdowns. He's got 148 receiving yards with 21 catches and a touchdown there. So, like I said, I think the receiving and the receiving yards and the catches there are kind of keeping him afloat there. But the less than 200 yards after 5 games there and only 2 touchdowns.
And like I said, like one of those games was one of those. He had like almost like 100 yards on one of those games. So basically, he's had 30 yards the rest of the time. So it's been rough. Like, it really has that. I think that Nathaniel Hackett, he should have got fired with fucking Robert Saleh if they were going to do that. They should have sent his ass out too. But I mean, if they decide to do with the new play caller and make it a little more, what I think they should do, make it more run heavy, start playing a little more 2-backs, style, and bringing these guys in, because they need playmakers on offense right now. Right now, it's Garrett Wilson and nobody else, and they can't survive like that. So I mean, it's something I wouldn't bench or trade him yet. I mean, I wouldn't trade him yet, but I would definitely bench him. I would definitely bench him and just kind of wait and see. Hopefully he bounces back, because that's, like you said, was probably going in the first 20 in most drafts. Mm-hmm. So to have your number one, running back, or your number 2 running back that you or your number 2 pick that you took off the board and isn't doing shit all year, that hurts.
It does, but I do think if somebody offers you something decent, you should really. I would consider it there, just because just looking forward at the Jets offense going forward and for the rest of the season, I personally don't really have too much faith in them. Even like I said, it's already a shit show, and it looks like it's just going to turn into a bigger shit show the longer the season goes on. So, and that only spells doom for the offense. So. We'll see, like I said, what happens tonight for him. But
what happens tonight, they're fighting for the division, so they could end up being in first place. So you never know. Like, things might change. The NFL in 6 weeks could be a whole different landscape. All of a sudden, Brees Hall has 2 or 3 major games, and then now you look like an idiot because you traded him. So that's why I want to wait. I want to wait and see right now. I really am. I want to see what this new play calling is going to do. I want to see what's going to happen. I'll at least give it 2 weeks before I'm like, fuck it, I'm out. Pull the cord. But like you said, like, someone decides if someone decides to give you, a nice trade and supplement your team, especially with all these buys coming up, then you definitely got to pay attention and definitely look. But for me, I would still wait maybe like 2 weeks before I decided to do something like that.
Okay, well, the trade deadline is probably coming up here. You've probably got about another 5 or 6 more weeks before it kind of gets there. I think around Thanksgiving time is when it cuts off for fantasy wise. But let's go on to the next player that I wanted to ask you about and pick your brain. Raymond Stevenson. He is around 70 fantasy points, 356 yards. Averaging over 4 yards a carry, but 3 touchdowns. Not much production in the pass game here. Only 13 catches for 37 yards, no touchdowns. Just looking at New England's offense and how they're going to look going forward. What are your feelings on Raymond Stevenson? Or is he someone that you were trying to maybe move on from, or someone that you're kind of hoping or thinking that he's going to eventually turn it around?
Well, I mean, he had a really good first game, and then after that, he hasn't really done nothing since. And then he had all those fumbles in a row, and then he got benched without getting benched. So I mean, like Jeremiah Mayo like benched him, but played him like pretty heavily. So with the rookie QB coming in, Drake May, even though it was pretty ugly, they lost 41-21, but he made some good throws, and he had some little something to be excited about. So if anything, right now, like I probably would trade trade high on Ramondre Stevenson. Like that's someone, if he has some other needs, wide receiver, if you have a Patrick Mahomes and Ramondre Stevenson, I'd trade him off and try to get something better for it. But
Right. Okay.
he's definitely someone that scares me with the fumbles. That scares me more than anything else because you start him and he fumbles, 3 or 4 carries into a game, and Gerard Mayo has already shown that he'll sit his ass. You know what I mean? So you have someone that you start thinking that I got this on my flex, my second QB, second running back, and now he has 2 points and he's coming and he's sitting on the bench and he's not going to do shit the rest of the game. So that scares me. That scares me more than anything else. Is that he does put the ball on the ground. He has already done it in 4 straight games this year, and he, like I said, Quasi got benched even though he still had a lot of run in the last game. So that's something like he's someone that I think is going to get his opportunity still, just because they have lack of offensive players on that team.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. Sorry, I just accidentally kicked my dog there. Didn't see her underneath there. No, there is lack of offensive threats there with the Patriots for sure. So, I mean, and Gerard Mayo, to be fair, I don't know very many coaches that have patience for guys that fumble the ball and put the ball on the ground. So, I mean, if you have a case of the fumbles, that's definitely one way to go ahead and find your off.
Get your ass sat down.
Yeah. So before I get into it, we get into it anymore. Let me go ahead and let's pay some bills real quick, and then we'll finish up with a few more other players here that are on the struggle bus, and talk about whether or not we should try and keep them or maybe try and find a new home for them. So stick around, guys. We'll be right back. Hey, guys. It's a guy that everyone likes to hate, the Crooked Commish. And if you're anything like me, that means you have one of these. But if not, that's okay. That just means you need to head over to Fantasy Jocks. At Fantasy Jocks, they have plenty of championship belts to choose from. But if belts aren't your thing, that's cool, because they also have these, championship rings. At Fantasy Jocks, they have trophies in all other sports, basketball, baseball, plus plenty of other goodies to choose from. So head over to Fantasy Jocks to get all your championship gear, and let them know the Crooked Commish sent you. Thank you to Fantasy Jocks for sponsoring us and giving us this belt here for our Fantasy Football League at the Chicago Clubhouse Network. If you guys are Chicago Bears fans and are with the Chicago Clubhouse Network, please let us know if you're interested in being in the league, and we'll go ahead and try and get you in there. I know there's already one guy that's on the waiting list here, and we'll get him there next year. So that's for sure. But thank you to Fantasy Jocks for sponsoring us. We really do appreciate them, as we appreciate all our sponsors. Hughes, we appreciate Hughes, In the Zone, clothing, apparel, and we do give a discount on that as well if you use Chicago Clubhouse podcast, I believe, there. And then I believe it's 20% off. And then we also would like to thank our other sponsor, Always Have
Vision.
Gotta have that vision. That's what our QBs, we always want our QBs to have that vision, be able to see down the field. So thank you to Visions there. We really do appreciate this, all our sponsorships. So, and of course, Moore's Beer. So go ahead and get yourself a case of Moore's Beer if you're over there in the Chicagoland area. So now that all that's out of the way and those bills have been paid, we can keep the lights on. Let's go ahead and get back to the fun.
There you go.
Another
Bears.
QB, or not QB, running back that I wanted to bring up is, we talked about him a little bit earlier as well, Travis with Jacksonville. He's been getting outplayed by Tank Bigsby. So we had a question earlier in the day about whether or not we should get Bigsby, to replace Etienne. I would say yes, because it looks like Jacksonville's already in the process of doing that themselves in real life. So
yeah, like that should have happened about 2 weeks ago. We talked about it a few weeks ago. That should have. Unfortunately, if you're looking for him now, he's probably not there. So I mean,
he may not be, but check.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to go check because Etienne, he's played himself out of a job. It's unfortunate, but
is he cutting material? Like some guys spent second, third round guys, and you hate to cut somebody like that.
I hate to do that, but I mean, honestly, it depends on your team. Like that's the situation right now. If you're like, in the top, 4 or 5 in your fantasy league, and you can afford to keep him on your bench or see if he comes back to life. You know what I mean? That's one of those things, like I said earlier, Tank Bigsby, we don't know much about him, how he's going to hold up for the rest of the year. So you would think that offense would eventually figure it out. But also it comes to class if Peterson gets fired this weekend. You might come Tuesday, he might get, that little black note. So
I think they'll wait until after they comes back for London. They're staying in London again to play another game there. So if they lose both games in London,
that's true. I forgot about that. I did forget about that. But so it's one of those situations right now. The offense should be playing a lot better. Like they were a legit playoff team. They went out. I think they won like 7 or 8 games, before they kind of like fell back into earth, last year. So, they had the talent. It's just for whatever reason, nothing's clicking right now. Defense isn't playing good. Offense isn't playing good. No wide receivers out there. Other than was it Robinson? I think that was out there, or like the rookie, and so it hasn't really been anything to be positive about in Jacksonville. So like, I mean, Tank Bigsby is someone that you definitely want to keep around, but I mean, if he gets hurt, then Etienne might slide right back into it. So he's definitely someone. If you're in the top of your fantasy, I would keep. If he's in the bottom, he's at the point right now. If you have him sitting there, your flex or your second running back, I wouldn't. I would definitely be looking elsewhere for help because he's not doing much, and now he's not getting opportunity, which makes it even way worse. Because if you're not doing much, but you're getting opportunities, and you're in a part of a high-powered offense, at least then you have a chance to break out. But if you're not even getting opportunities anymore, and you're getting like 3 or 4 rushes a game, and you're not even in on third down, yeah, it's time to cut the cord.
I agree. If you're asking the commish, I think it's safe to go ahead and
yeah, you're done.
Bye-bye.
Dump that shit in the river. Dump that shit in the river. You're fucking out.
It's just time to cut your losses on Etienne there. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes for him. Other guy there on the running back list as well that I wanted to bring up is someone from the Dallas Cowgirls, Johnny Rico Dowell. 246 yards this season, averaging over 4 yards a carry, but no rushing touchdowns. He does have 16 catches for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns there, but no rushing touchdowns. So Rico Dowell is a guy I think some may have, I think at the earliest, a 4th round pick or somewhat, depending. What is your opinion on him? Is he someone that you would hit the dump button on, or maybe look to try and trade off, or do you have faith that the Cowboys offense can show some signs of life?
I mean, the Cowboys look horrible right now, but you got to think that Dak Prescott with that offense, and I mean, he has no one that's gonna like push him. Like Ezekiel Elliott is pretty much a fullback at this point. You know what I mean? He's not going to do anything but maybe take away some goal line stuff, but he's not a small guy either. He's 6 foot 215, so he can have some decent goal line touches himself, and he's definitely shown to be the more explosive back, obviously. But I mean, the problem is that the Cowboys keep getting set, behind. They're getting blown out almost every game that they haven't won. They're getting their ass kicked. So that takes away the running game, which it sucks for your fantasy league when your running back isn't getting any touches, getting into a rhythm or doing anything when it comes to the ground, on the running game. So like I said, like he has like some capability out of the backfield, but the zero touchdowns fucking hurts. The zero touchdown hurts because you go from 8 or 9, with the touchdown or two, all of a sudden you're in that 17, 18, 24, 25. Now you look really good. You know what I mean? But the zero touchdowns really worries me. That right there. But that whole offense worries me because it's CeeDee Lamb or bust in the offense right now. You know what I mean? And that does seem like a big issue. Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely wouldn't ship it on him yet because you definitely want to keep a running back, a top running back in an offense that's pretty much been explosive for the past few years. So there's no way that running back that is going to come and take his job. It's just not. So you're definitely not going to want to sit there and just think that, he has no potential. But, I mean, they got the Niners they got a bye this week, and then the Niners, and they got a tough schedule too. So you got to kind of look ahead and see who, your running backs are playing, and you start playing that matchup game. And, he's definitely somebody that could have the possibility to have a couple good games, but I mean, he's like a flex. He's definitely like a low flex for me though. He's definitely a low flex.
So maybe you don't cut him, but maybe you
put him in the bedroom. Sonny, Eddie Mush is in there. He ain't gonna fit. I don't give a fuck. Put him in.
Put him in the fucking cooler. Put him in the fucking cooler. Get him out of here.
He ain't gonna be in my starting lineup. Grab some wood.
So I mean, if he has a couple good weeks, then you start doing. But Dallas Cowboys coming off their bye, they got about 4 or 5 games that are fucking pretty brutal in the schedule. So they're gonna run into some defenses. So I mean, you gotta look at that too this time of year. Who's your running backs? Who your wide receivers and tight ends and QBs are? What kind of defenses they're running into? Because everybody thought Cleveland's defense was championship defense, and right now they look just as bad as freaking Deshaun Watson. So that's definitely an issue that you would think that some defenses that you look at, you're like, no, they're always good, but no, not this year.
No, they're on the struggle bus for sure. So getting towards the end of the show, I still wanted to ask a few more guys. There's 2 receivers I wanted to get into real quick. So we don't have to spend too much time on them. So unless some questions and whatnot come in at the end. But guys, like I said, that are with us, please remember to hit that thumbs up button. We really do appreciate any love and support that we get from y'all. We will take it. So, but before we head out, I wanted to pick your brain on the Cheetah. What should we expect out of him? Was he somebody, obviously, that you definitely went in the first round, at the very latest, the second round? And I know a lot of it has to do with Tua getting hurt and not having a quarterback. That has a lot to do with it. We still don't know when the hell he's coming back. He's supposed to come back this season, but he's so looking at tight numbers: 23 catches, 86 yards, 1 touchdown. So
I mean that all came in game 1 when he got arrested. After that, didn't he go get Miami-Dade police and go arrest him every week so he can blow the fuck up, or you need to sit him? Like, he's too good to cut because he might have one of those games. But without Tua, we talked about this earlier in the season that Jalen Waddle is obviously done without him. But Tyreek Hill had a chance that this last year when Tua was out, and he had some still productive weeks, but he has not been part of the offense whatsoever. The offense has looked horrible. It's kind of crazy to see how smart of a head coach and offensive guru, whatever you want to say, McDonald's is. But I mean, HN hasn't been healthy, doesn't look good. Mostert is coming back and really has a decent games, but like I said, Waddle and Hill, that whole offense has looked pretty bad without two in it. But I Hills, it's hard because if you gave up, you're at like the eighth or ninth pick, and you got Hill, you were happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now you're looking that this guy that gives you like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points maybe every week, and 0 touchdowns besides that first week. I mean, it's hard to cut him, but it's definitely. I would definitely listen to some trade offers if I can push him out there and get someone on my bench and get someone that I know that was going to be, at least someone in the offense every week. Gave me a chance to give me 10 plus points and maybe off the chance to touchdown. Then I would definitely be thinking about my options out there and pushing Tyreek Hill's like he might come back. Tua might come back. Because we don't know if he is, but right now, without him, he's definitely not looking very good.
If you're trading him, that's the thing. You're like, you could dingle him out there, and that's the thing that you're going to try and sell the person that's buying him is the fact that once Tua comes back, he should look like old Tyreek. And if you can find a buyer that has that mindset and is willing to, buy what you're selling there, then, that may be the way to go. If you can get somebody like a Scary Terry or
exactly
maybe like a T Higgins or some shit like that. So
even like a Zay Flowers at this point, like Zay Flowers was kind of sketchy in the beginning of the year, but it looked like the past few weeks he's starting to get a lot more pass attempts going towards his way and stuff like that. Like, so that's someone that you wouldn't think that hey, Zay Flowers for Tyreek Hill, like someone else I would jump at that all day long. But right now, he's definitely more productive.
Yeah. And then the last guy I wanted to bring up here before we go ahead and close off is one of the guys that we saw get injured, but even before this injury that happened this past week, he was already on the struggle bus, and that is Chris Olave. He has 23 catches for the season, 280 yards with 1 touchdown. What do you do with the good old Chris? Do you trust him in your starting lineup, or?
I trust him right now because, when he had Derek Carr, he had 3 games that were, like 6, between 4 to 6 catches and 80 something yards, and he only had the 1 touchdown during that time, but
right.
That's because Rashid Shaheed was going to hell off. So, but Kamara was going off. That offense kind of come back to earth a little bit, but even the past few years, he's been the bona fide number 1. His productions fell off because Derek Carr got hurt, and Rattler kind of looked decent, So you kind of hope that Chris Olave is just out for this week, and maybe he kind of marries up with Derek Carr and comes back at close to the same time. But I definitely keep Chris Olave. He's shown to be their number 1 receiver. He's going to get most of the touchdowns. I'm sorry, most of the targets. The touchdowns is something that's a little different because, Kamara did kind of come back to earth a little bit, but Rashid is definitely the one that's going to blow the top off the defenses. So he's the one that's the more, I guess, more dangerous on the team to kind of take those offensive touches away from him, especially around the red zone or over the top or like the 40, 50-yard ones that he was getting. So he's kind of becoming closer to like Michael Thomas, like receiver, the possession type of thing. Unfortunately for us, he's not.
He just doesn't have the big body for it, though.
He's not getting the. He's not getting the receptions to go with with the being number 1, and like you said, like, he got hurt last year when he got over the middle too much. So he's definitely someone that's better on the outside. Yeah, he's definitely someone that was better on the outside, but he takes some vicious fucking hits. If anybody takes some hits, Chris Olave takes. I can't see. I don't remember anybody on the outside. You know what I mean? That takes as many fucking shots as Chris Olave. It's definitely somebody that comes over the middle. You expect them to kind of get run over by a linebacker or a safety, but Chris Olave takes some big ass hits on the outside, and it's a little worrisome because he doesn't get back up from those. But
yeah,
hopefully this
up in the air gives enough time for the safety to get over there.
Yeah, so I mean that does suck a little bit for him because he's gotten hurt a few times, but he's definitely the number one. That's so you can't shy away from the fact that Derek Carr will throw the ball up to him, but they got to have Derek Carr out there.
Well, speaking of big hits, I just saw a big hit by Garrett Wilson, just took in the end zone. Hopefully he doesn't end up in the injury list there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe has a wrist fracture or some shit like that, because Rodgers kind of threw a pass over the middle there, and just like we talked about, safety kind of came in right as the ball was getting there and hit him good. So he was rolling around the ground there for a while. So let's go ahead and wrap this up since the game's getting exciting here. We'll let you get to the game here. So we really do appreciate you guys here for joining us. Please hit the thumbs up. Like I said, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please help us grow, get to 2,000 subscribers over here on YouTube.
We appreciate
it. Yes. Follow us on TikTok as well. If you have a TikTok account, please follow us at the Chicago Clubhouse Network as well. Help us get to 1,000 followers there. Yeah, I mean,
you fucking don't create one. Shit, get it together.
Once we get to 1,000 on TikTok, we can live stream there as well, which will give us just another platform and avenue for us to get to you guys and get our content out to you. We have our main show on Tuesday, tomorrow night, for all the Bears fans out there in the fantasy world. Check into our main show with T-Nick, Frank the Tank, Foulmouth Chris, and JB Stats. They'll talk about the Bears game, go over the highlights there, talk about the good and the bad, and a little bit of the ugly there. That was with that London trip. So, and then we should have our midweek show going on at some point, but I do know if nothing else, we'll have the Bears pregame show, not this week because we're on a bye, but next week we play against the Commanders, and we'll have a pregame going there. With that all being said, Mouth, is there any shout outs or any last minute advice or anything that you want to give out to the fine people out there before we sign off?
No. I mean, shout out to Jalen Daniels because we have a little bet going right there, so that's a perfect game. So I mean, I need Jalen Daniels to go out there and show Caleb Williams how to
has been tearing it up lately too.
He's playing football. I'm just saying. I mean, we have our little bet there, so that's like I like that. That head-to-head game there. So.
Yes, that'll be something to look into. Hey, I wanted to ask you too, and let me know there in the fantasy world as well. I was talking with Mitchie the other day about this. The caps that the guys wear on their helmets. Whenever I see that, automatically it makes me think of the cheat code for NFL Blitz, where it gives the players the big heads.
Yeah.
On the field.
I never thought about that.
That makes me think that shit. Like they got the fucking the big heads up there. So,
I love that. I never thought about that. Yeah.
In the fantasy
fucking
world,
cheat codes, fucking cheat codes everywhere out there right now.
there is. So I mean, maybe they typed it in, and you get that cheat code in right if you hear that right sound effect and stuff like that. Yeah. But like I said, let me know in the fantasy world. Put that on the chat. Do you guys see that do you see what I'm seeing as well? So if not, maybe I've been drinking too much. I don't know. So
yeah.
But anyways, thank you all for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We'll be back here next week for the Mouth and the Crooked Commish. Remember, y'all, if you can't be good, goddamn, be good at it.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
And now it's all over.